Who I think matters more than Jordan Willis and who I think matters a lot all of a sudden is JaMycal Hasty. I think he deserves 5 minutes on his own because I was talking on Monday with Vish Kumaran about who is the most important player in the Niners offense. And he made a case for Deebo Samuel. I made a case for Raheem Mostert. Most people would say George Kittle, but I firmly believe it's Mostert. It's a run-first team. Deebo Samuel adds to that. He'll get 2, 3, 4 carries a game, and they're explosive carries, but not 17. Raheem Mostert is the guy who can carry this offense when healthy. He can run between the tackles. He's shown that this year. He's bigger and tougher than he used to be. He does not get knocked backward. He gets yards after contact. He also has the speed and more than enough speed to get to the edge, and that's where he's best. So he's until Hasty has arrived, Mostert was the only guy who could run between the tackles and outside the tackles. McKinnon doesn't have the juice to get outside the tackles like he used to. He is a shotgun between the tackles runner. And he's a decent one, plus a good running back. Then you got a good receiver. Then you got Tevin Coleman, same. Shotgun between the numbers, that's what he's best at. I mean, between the tackles, that's what he's best at. Decent receiver. Then Jeff Wilson Jr., again, best between the tackles, the least flashy of those three, but arguably the best receiver. He might even be a better receiver than Jerick McKinnon, or right there. So those two are similar. But what I saw from Hasty in his 9, carries, whatever, how many snaps he got, was a guy who definitely has the juice to get to the outside, definitely has the speed and acceleration to get to the outside, and also runs very hard, runs violently, much more violently than you would expect a 5'8", 205-pound runner to run with between the tackles. I mean, when I was looking at him, I was thinking, God, this guy reminds me of Alexander Madison, the backup running back for the Vikings, who I think is the best backup running back in the league. He could start for the Niners right now. But that guy's 5'10", 220. He runs extremely hard. He's got a little bit of beast mode in him. I was watching Hasty be like, that's like Madison, except he's 2 inches shorter and 15 pounds lighter. But he still looks the same, moves the same, has the same level of violence and velocity. I love JaMycal Hasty. So what I think is, while Mostert's out, Hasty should be the starting running back, the starter. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter who starts, but he should get the most touches per game. He needs more carries than McKinnon, and he needs more carries than Jeff Wilson Jr. Use Jeff Wilson Jr. as a short yardage back and a receiver. Use Jerick McKinnon on third down. But on first and second down, 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, those normal situations, put Hasty on the field. I've seen enough. He's the best. He gives the offense the toughness to run between the tackles and the speed to create big plays. He's a lot like Mostert. In fact, he kind of reminds me of, not as fast as Mostert, he reminds me of Devontae Freeman back when Freeman was good. 5 years ago. Freeman 5 years ago. How about that? Freeman was a 4th-round pick, if I'm correct. 4th-round pick. Hasty was a undrafted free agent. He's more explosive than Jeff Wilson Jr. He's more explosive right now than Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon's still good. I admire how hard he runs. But he's averaged less than 4 yards a carry for his career for a reason, and now he lacks whatever juice he used to have. Hard runner, tough guy, good athlete, not explosive. Hasty's explosive. And the thing about running back is it's one of these positions where you don't need a lot of experience. Wide receivers need time. Look at Ayuk. Hell of an athlete, 1st-round pick, kind of struggling. JaMycal Hasty, not as athletic, not drafted, hit the ground running. Boom, ready to go. Because it's like either you make guys miss or you don't. It's not that complicated. You follow your track, you follow your blockers, you have little sprint spots that you're aiming for, and then you make one cut and you go. You either can do it or you can't. And really, for running backs, it's like the less experience, the better almost. Like the less tread on your tires, the better. Every carry you get, you're taking 4 or 5 hits, and it wears on you. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. He's not the running back he was 4 years ago. He's been worn into the ground. Hasty's fresh now. McKinnon is not. Give it to the fresh kid. He's ready. He's good. I want to see him. He doesn't have to be the starting running back. I make it very clear what the Niners have to do. I told them they had to be under center first play running the ball against the Rams. They don't have to start Hasty, but he better have 10 carries. I don't want to see Jerick McKinnon 13 carries for 40 yards, JaMycal Hasty 4 carries for 40 yards. If McKinnon ain't doing well, get him the hell out of there. And one thing that I admire about Kyle Shanahan, at least what he did last week, was he got McKinnon the hell out of there. It was clear that when Mostert went down and McKinnon got the first shot to replace him, that running game wasn't going to go anywhere. And they went off the field. Someone tweeted at me when I was in the press box, what do the Niners do to get some explosion in their offense? I immediately texted, put Hasty on the field. Shanahan, who reads all my tweets and all that stuff, checked his phone quickly, apparently, and went back, put Hasty on the field, kept him in the game the rest of the game. So he sees what I see. They need a spark. They need some juice. Hasty gives it to him.